Well, welcome. It's so nice to start seeing some faces popping in. Oh,
Hi,
and
everyone.
popping out again.
Oh, do we lose some people?
Oh, there's a few more coming.
They come. Hi, everyone.
I think Cara might be having some tech issues because I've seen them pop in and out a few times.
Okay.
Hello, welcome. Awesome. Hello. Can you guys hear us? Are you getting us? You can just give us a thumbs up or give us a wave. How was your days, everybody?
Great.
Happy Tuesday.
My day's been good, thank you.
Yay. What's your name?
I'm Suzanne.
Hey, Suzanne.
My mum has just been visiting from England for a month, so I've just spent 3 nights with her in Sydney and just dropped her home. Well, so it's been a good day and a sad day. So I just dropped her home at the airport and then have flown home, and I'll see her again in 6 months, maybe. Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
That's so lovely.
Yeah,
How
it's been a really good
delightful.
month. It's bittersweet.
Very much so. Oh,
Yeah.
we've got a few more ladies popping on in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Super
Hello,
excited.
everybody. Oh, I see a Fiona. I know that face. Hey.
Hello.
And Nikki. Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, really good. We're super excited.
Yes. My dog.
Couple more people popping in. If you feel like unmuting yourself and saying hi, then please do that. Otherwise, just pop your name and maybe where you're tuning in from in the chat thread. Oh, where's my mouse gone? That's not helpful.
It's so great to see so many smiling faces.
Oh my gosh, my mouse is doing something really odd.
Do you want? I can let some people in. It's okay.
I would really love it if you could let some people in because my mouse seems to have disappeared.
That's okay.
Not good. Oh, cool.
There's a few people that I'm recognizing. So hi, everybody that already knows me. Welcome. We're so excited about tonight.
So excited.
Hopefully you're going to get a lot out of this. So, and we're just chatting briefly. It's that we've got into the festive season. So to see so many people here and find the time to do this is just fabulous.
The aptly named silly season, right?
Yes. I said festive, but yes, it does get silly.
Yeah, you were polite.
Yeah. So look, I hope everyone can sort of sit back and relax and enjoy their time and get something really valuable out of tonight as well.
Yeah. We also really want to encourage you to, hey, Jane from Adelaide, how cool. We really want to encourage you to participate in tonight as well. So we're going to be inviting you along the way to share in the chat thread as we go. And there's also at the bottom of your Zoom screen a little place that you'll be able to see that you can give reactions. So if there's something that we share that's resonating with you, that you're like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that, then you can, keep your camera on and do a little one of these. I've got 2 screens, which is why it looks like I look away. Give us a yeah, that makes sense, or give us a smiley face or a thumbs up or a love heart if something's resonating. We really want this to be inclusive of your experience as well. So I reckon we could just about get started. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just checking. I think everybody's in. So
well, look, we have many more on the list, but for now, we can let them in, and I want to honor our time tonight because, hey, Trace, there we go. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Oh, there we go. There's all of our faces in one place. Hi.
Welcome, everybody.
I'm seeing some familiar names and some names that I really don't know, which is really cool.
I'm seeing some people. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Beck. Hi, Carrington. Thanks for coming.
Oh, yay. This is beautiful.
Hi, Jane. I can see everybody now. It's a little bit hard before.
Yeah. It's really nice. Welcome to From Chaos to Clarity, everybody. Ooh, how exciting. We're going to begin with a welcome to country.
Yeah, so I'd just like to do the acknowledgement of country. So we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are Wiradjuri people and Wurundjeri people, who are the traditional custodians of this land on which we are co-hosting this event today. And there are probably other lands on which people are located, but the co-hosts, that's where we are today. We'd also like to pay our respects to the elders, both past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians who are present here tonight. So welcome. So we might just start by doing a brief introduction. So I'm Ali Roberts. I'm a De-Clutter coach and my business is Ali B & Co. And I'm based on Wiradjuri country in Wagga Wagga, regional New South Wales. And I might hand to Teisha to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Teisha. I'm from Wagga as well, and I have a business called Wagga Wealth. I'm a licensed financial advisor, and this is my first online meeting. So this is very exciting. Thank you all for coming. I'll pass off to you, Nicole.
No worries. So cool. My name is Nicole Stewart. If we haven't met before, my business is The Deeply Satisfied Woman, and I'm a performance and lifestyle coach for women in high pressure and high stress environments. All righty. So we're here to talk about From Chaos to Clarity. And you know, you just heard us intro a little bit about who we each are in terms of the work that we do. And we get to talk to women a lot about what's happening in their lives. And we hear about their chaos in different flavors, and we get to support them, hopefully, to move in the direction of clarity. And as we shared with you tonight, we're going to be giving you guys some total gems around like financial finesse and like clutter-free calm and some inner well-being. and I mean, let me share my screen again. We have some cute
yeah,
let's just see. Hey, there we go. So can anyone relate?
So yeah, one of the things when we're thinking about the masterclass is really thinking about that context, the environment in which we're in. So yeah, does anyone feel this way at the moment?
Definitely.
Give us a thumbs up or a nod.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some little thumbs up. You're also welcome to put in a chat thread. The first meme made me chuckle. Yeah. Yep. I really liked the lady like pouring herself off the chair.
And I think like
right.
some of what I hear in my sphere is, you know, they're talking about 2023 like has been that year where we're in that state of hyper fatigue, but we are coming out of it. So, which is really positive. And to do this masterclass is really about giving you that lift going into the end of the year and into 2024.
Yeah.
So in Victor, you've got a 2-year-old. So can you totally relate to the mental and emotional exhaustion? Yeah.
So as professional or ambitious working women, there's that juggling act that's going on between the demands of your career or your business as well as the household home demands. And obviously all three of us are going to go deeper with this tonight, but it has been such a fascinating year of seeing I guess, to be blunt, just how a little bit dysfunctional it is to try and expect ourselves to do all the things and then cracking under that pressure. And so I'm excited to share some deeper tips with you. And Ali, you were the one that actually shared this really fascinating stat with us, or with us for the slides. Could you share a little more about that? Because I think that's such a fascinating stat that 35% of us are too tired to deal with our tired.
Yeah, so basically they're saying that we're, throughout 2023, and there's been a lot of articles and discussion around this 35% of us being too tired to deal with our tired. It basically means that you're in this real state of overwhelm that you cannot even think past how to get on top of that. Like, you're just too tired to even think about it, which is really quite scary, because how do you pull yourself out of that, or how do you ask for help in how to do that when you are just really in that struggle zone? And I suppose the context for life these days is that people talk about us having things really, really good, but it's actually really quite busy what's actually going on for us. Thanks, Nick.
Hey.
Yeah, so there's just this endless constant sort of barrage that we're feeling. And there's also saying that out the other side of COVID, we're in this state of fight or flight, and we're in that position and feeling that way for a couple of years. And then as we've come out of it and we've tried to pick our lives back up and get some normalcy back, we're still dealing with the constant change. There's so much choice that we do go through decision fatigue, and we have that overwhelm that's going on. And I'll touch more deeply on this in what I talk about, but the life admin, the bills, everything, there's forms for everything, there's emails, you have to sign up for everything, and you've got to manage it all. So, and we are actually putting ourselves in a position where the expectations seem higher these days, to participate and engage. So our schedules are full. We're trying to relate to what's happening with work, but we're juggling what's happening for others in our lives, whether it's caring for elderly parents, or whether it's, you've got kids, or maybe you've got both. But essentially there's this level of what we describe as chaos going on for us, and the hyper fatigue. Are you too tired to deal with your tired? It's an extension of what we've come out of following COVID. Like, we just haven't really got to that recovery state. So hopefully tonight you might take away a few tips and things to actually start bringing yourself back from that level of tiredness.
Teisha, have you seen that play out with the women that you're working with?
Yeah, for sure. It's been, and I'll talk about this in my presentation, but it's been a really, really big year when it comes to money. And it's getting to the point for a lot of people where they're just feeling like, oh, well, that's at the bottom of the list. Like, what can we let go of? Let's just deal with the absolute have to deal with. And I know that money can kind of fall off the bottom there. So getting some tools about, I just saw someone write in the chat, delegate, and I love that. I think that's a really awesome way to try and, to deal with all these things we have to deal with. Yeah. No, you're fine. But yes.
Trying to let new people in, it's been weird.
But yes, chaos is everywhere. I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about you, Nick? What are you hearing?
Yeah, very similar, that it's that juggling act. And I hear women talk about the fact that they feel like they're running on a hamster wheel, that it's just this repeated cycle of showing up for the tasks that are required of me, from my profession, from my household, from my family, and, you know, like running on the hamster wheel. And, you know, when do I get off? Like, is this all there is? Like, is this all that life is? And there's that flavor of, total, sort of a little bit of disillusionment. There's been a bit of a theme of, and again, I'll go deeper with this in what I'm talking about, but women feeling like fed up with tolerating or enduring life, feeling disconnected from themselves, feeling exhausted, feeling like it is just this sort of hamster wheel of showing up for the things that are expected of us, but not really maybe enjoying life in the way that they really want to. So it is really important to start making some shifts. And as you said, Ali, we are coming out of that, and we are sort of reaching a place where we're starting to find some more solid ground, but we are still in a really tumultuous time. You know, interest rates are doing insane things. People are under tremendous financial pressure. That doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon. And that us being able to find the ways that we can to make positive change in our lives and to move towards the things that we want to experience, regardless of what the world might be doing, is really, really important.
Yeah.
So, I'm just doing a little time check. We're going to do a fun thing. It feels like we should hand over to Tish to go deeper on finances. But something that is going to be really fun tonight is that, there's all your beautiful faces again, is that we are going to be giving you some little opportunities at the beginning of each woman sharing, because we're all going to take 15 minutes to share about our sort of domain expertise. But we're going to give you an opportunity to do some self-reflection, and we're going to do that through a poll. And what this is all about is you taking a minute to connect with how you feel in that particular area of your life. So how you feel in terms of your finances, your physical space and environment, and then your inner self, your relationship to you. And so each of us will invite you to do that as we begin, but just letting you know that is this beautiful opportunity for self-reflection and for exploring what's happening for me right now. Maybe which areas do I need to give a little bit more attention to, and where am I feeling really strong and on top of things. So just giving you a little heads up that that's coming. And Tish, I will hand over to you.
Thank you. All right. Let's see if I can share my screen. Have I shared it?
You have.
Yay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So I'm so sorry. Just bear with me 1 second. All right. Okay. I can see everything now. Cool. So
I need to apologize.
Okay, cool. So I've got 15 minutes with everyone. So I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as I can. But if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat and I'll try and get to them. But before I start, let's see if this works. Awesome. So I am a licensed financial advisor, but anything that I talk about today is just completely general. It doesn't take into account your own personal objectives, financial situation, or needs. Just a fun little disclaimer to start. So I wanted to start my presentation by looking back. So Spotify Wrapped has just come out. Mine was super boring. It was a Taylor Swift year for me. But when it comes to money, we have all had a massive year. So first up, we've got inflation. So right here, you can see the start of 2023, there's a peak there. We started off with a peak of coming out of December 2022. We're now down a little bit, so we're sitting at about 4.9% now, but that's a whole lot higher than what we have been used to for a very long time. Cool. So here's a not so fun example of real inflation. So summertime, we have just started buying canned beetroot again for our salads. And I was super shocked to see that this can of beetroot that was 80 cents last year when I bought it is now $2.30. This is a very extreme example, but I just wanted to highlight that life is significantly more expensive now that we're at the end of 2023 than what it was going in. And then next up, I'm sure you're sick of hearing about them, but interest rates. So the RBA actually gave us an early Christmas present today. They announced that there's no rate rises for December, yay. But we've had 5 rate rises this year. So all in all, an additional 1.25%. So that's good and great for our savers, but not so good and great for a lot of us that have debt, especially mortgages. So I got this graphic from The Guardian, and what it measures is how many of us are in mortgage stress. So mortgage stress is when 30% or more of your household income goes to your mortgage repayments. What we know is that pre-COVID, so back in 2019, 26.7% of us were in mortgage stress, and now 43.5% of us are in mortgage stress. So that's actually higher than the previous record level, which was in the late 30s, 38.5% back in 1993. Shares. So if we look at the top 200 shares in the Australian share market, we've definitely had a lot of ups and downs. So if you're invested this year, you might be feeling a little bit exhausted and a little bit deflated after the year that we've had. And we've also had a whole heap of headlines this year as well that we've had to try and ignore, hopefully. So they're all designed to make us panic. If you think back to the start of the year, we had the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank. That was back in March. Then we had the US debt ceiling crisis. I'm not sure if you remember that, but that was all over our news cycle for days and days back in kind of like the May, June part of the year. We had the rise of artificial intelligence. So that's come onto the scene in a huge way. It's had a big effect on markets, but it's also had an effect on a lot of us when it comes to our future employment security as well, which can be a little bit tricky to think about. And then just with clients, a lot of people are telling me that they're feeling nervous, they're feeling stressed, they're feeling like they're falling behind, and that a lot of things this year have been unfair. So that's very common. A lot of people have those themes for this year. So if we look at that 2023, that's just a brief wrap for 2023. You can see it's just very unpredictable, intense, and it looks a little bit ridiculous. So if you're feeling pressured about what your finances are looking like now that we're at the end of 2023, just look at the absolute chaos that's on this screen and pat yourself on your back, because you need to acknowledge that you got through all of that, which is amazing. Now, I've just finished a really cool book. It's called The Psychology of Money. I'd recommend it if you're looking for something to read. But there was a quote in there that really stood out to me, especially when I was reflecting on 2023 as well. And the quote is, "Planning is important, but the most important part of every plan is to plan on the plan not going according to plan." Now, I'm pretty confident that none of us knew what was in store for us in 2023. So we need to accept that the plan for next year, 2024, is probably not going to go to plan either. But what we want to do is we want to make some positive changes now so that next year we can move the needle in the right direction. Cool, so I've got a really simple checklist that we can walk away with from today's little presentation. So just 3 things to take into 2024. And the first one is being more specific with your why. Actually, I might go back. So going into 2024, let's have a think about what is important to us this year. So what do we want to achieve? Do we want to buy a home? Do we want to start a family? Is the most important thing to us living overseas? Are there causes that we really care about that we want to support? What I find with my clients is that you need to have a really strong why, and you need to be clear on it. Otherwise, it gets really, really easy to let money drop down our very, very long list of to-dos. So ASIC actually did some research specific to women and specific to women and money. And some of the things that they found that make me very upset is that 41% of women find money decisions overwhelming and stressful. 85% of women under 35 don't understand fundamental investment concepts. And on average, this is the worst one, women retire with half the super balance of men. So 230,000 versus the 454,000 that men retire with. So a direct quote from what ASIC released was actually, women often focus on the everyday needs of their families and their lives. And because of that, they look at money in a very immediate way. To change those statistics, what we need to do is we need to change and encourage women to look at money from a longer term perspective. Now, I know I can relate to that, and I'm sure a lot of you can as well. We have a really long list of to-dos, and our mental load is really heavy as well. And Ali is going to talk about managing the mental load very soon as well. But money needs to be at the top of our priority list, and it needs to be sitting next to our health. Money isn't everything, but it is the means to most things. So to make sure we have that focus on our money in 2024, we need to have a really strong why. And we need to make, financial health the top of our list. So what I do when I meet with a new client is that I ask them this question. I ask them, why is money important to you? And when I ask that question, I usually get a reaction of, oh, I have no idea. But then we do some digging, and the typical answers that we get are security or freedom, things along those lines. Now that's great, but those answers, they're not quite specific enough. So I don't know about you, but I've got a million things going on, and I might say, okay, tonight I need to sit down and I need to look at my budget. Or maybe I've signed up to an investment webinar. Or maybe I need to go look at where my super's invested. There's a little reminder for you all. So if there's 50 other things competing for my attention, if my why is freedom, in that moment, it's very easy to say, I'll work on freedom next week. So we need to be more specific. So this is a values staircase, and this is a little exercise you can do by yourself, or even better, if you have someone you trust, you can go through this exercise with them as well. So at the bottom of the staircase, we ask ourselves, what's important about money to me? So the first thing that might come to my head might be freedom. So let's put freedom in the bottom of our staircase. Perfect. But have I thought about what freedom means to me? So then I ask myself the question, why is freedom important to me? And I might say, well, freedom is important to me because it gives me choice. All right, so why is choice important to me? Well, choice gives me control over my time. Why is control over my time important to me? And then I realized that what it really gives me is it gives me the possibilities and to travel with my family and to give freely to others as well. So then, great, we've got two really important whys. So now, when we're trying to prioritize our to-do list, we have a much more compelling reason. So let's say, like, you've got to do the ironing. If you ask yourself, okay, should I do the ironing or should I work on financial freedom? I think you're going to say, okay, the ironing takes priority. If it's ironing or traveling with my family, all of a sudden you've got something that's a bit more real to you, and you might be able to say to yourself, okay, yeah, cool, let's do the money thing. So next thing on our checklist is tracking our spending. So I've actually got let's see if I'm clever enough to share the spreadsheet. Can you give me a thumbs up, Nicole, if that worked? Awesome. So this is a spreadsheet that we use here at Wagga Wealth to track spending. So everyone who's participated in the online event is going to get a copy of this tomorrow. And I would really encourage you to just carve out 20 minutes of your time before January just to sit down and have a think about what you want the year ahead to look like. It's very, very simple to use. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. But you just want to pop in your income, your fixed expenses, so the expenses that are kind of the same month to month, you know what to expect, those variable expenses that can change month to month, and then most importantly, planning for where we want our savings to go. Creating financial freedom or building wealth, it honestly doesn't have a lot to do with income or investment returns, which is what a lot of clients think when they first come in. What it all has to do with is your savings rate. So we need to spend less than we earn. And I promise you the most high impact thing you can do in 2024, if you're not doing it already, is have a spending plan. Now let's go back to...
Just letting you know you've got about 1.5 minutes, Tish.
Okay, I will go through this very quickly. So what I wanted to do was give everyone a bit of a challenge for 2024. It's not a budgeting challenge, it's not a savings challenge. What I want everyone to do is to start talking about money more openly. Now, why is this important? Because the language that's used when we talk about money and women, honestly, it's really awful. There's two sides of the coin when we talk about it. So the first side of the coin is, you know, women are shopaholics, they're spenders, they know how to spend money. And then the other side of that coin, which doesn't make any sense because it contradicts it, is women are so risk averse, you know, investing isn't their game. Now that's gross, and it shouldn't be up to us, but it is, to try and flip that script a little bit. The challenge is to have some conversations about money. I'll go through this really quickly. The first one is to have a conversation with yourself about money. Think about, what are you saying to yourself regularly? Are you saying things like, I'm bad with money, it's too complicated, I don't know what I'm doing? If that's the gist of your internal monologue, I promise you it's very common. Give yourself some grace. We're all juggling too many things and we're having to learn money at the same time. And also you can't compare yourself. So I work with a lot of different clients that are in very different circumstances. And from the outside, they might look similar, but everyone's situations are super unique. So never compare yourself to anyone else. It's a waste of time. So to kick off that conversation with yourself, the question I would recommend is ask yourself, what did my parents teach me about money? Next up, have a conversation with your friends. Some questions that might be a good starting point. Which super fund are you with? Or do you have any money goals for 2024 that I could support you with? And then lastly, with your family. So a lot of us avoid money talk with family because we might feel like we will be judged, or maybe it feels inappropriate. But you never know what you might learn from the women in your family. So asking them, what's the best financial advice you've ever received? And if you could go back in time, what would you do differently? Or did you wish that you learned sooner? So I've got a bit more, but I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to leave it there. If I see any questions, I'll try and answer them in the chat, but I'm going to hand it over to you, Ali.
Thanks, Tish. That was fantastic. I love the stuff about your money story. So I myself have actually been working on that quite a bit and really trying to have those conversations. And it is not easy. It's not a comfortable space that I'm in, but I am trying. Okay, so can you see my screen? Thumbs up. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm a declutter coach. What this means is I help people that have a stuff problem. So whether that's they're having some dysfunction in their space, or maybe they need to be working on their relationship with their things. But I very much work around activating people rather than motivating people. So taking people through a process of change using activation. But essentially, I try and approach it in a very much a holistic way to help people get out from under their things. So let's talk about the stuff. Now, I think about the stuff in terms of 3 elements. One being the physical, the next being the mental, and the last being our everyday. So our physical stuff is the things that are in our home, so our belongings. And, you know, if you're a career person, maybe thinking about your workspace as well, because that's really important too. The mental stuff is more around the mental load, and we've heard that spoken about a few times already. So they're the 2 biggies, the physical stuff and the mental load. So the mental loads, as you can see from the image on the screen in the middle, you know, all the open tags we have going on that we're thinking about, that we need to be managing around your household to make life work. I'm always touch on the everyday because that's what really wraps around both your physical and mental. So your everyday rituals, routines, and practices, they very much impact what's happening in these other 2 areas. But I'm going to start by focusing on the physical stuff and starting with a quote by someone that I absolutely love, Casey Davis. If you don't know her, I'd say follow her. She is fantastic. But she has this great quote that is, "You don't exist to serve your space exists to serve you." Now I'm going to ask you all to engage with this for a minute or 2 and ask you to reflect on your homes that you live in right now. So when I think about a space serving you, there's 2 elements. So how does it make you feel and how does it function for you? So if I was to ask you, and you can pop your answers in the chat box, in your home, is there somewhere where you feel that you have a space that takes you away from that daily grind? Is there a space where you feel that bit of calm or peace or excitement or joy that's just something that really serves you and makes you feel good? So just pop your answers in the chat, a yes or no. Yeah, I'm seeing some answers come through. So we've got bedroom, yes. Adult lounge, no toys, yep, with the kids, and a no in there as well. Okay, great, good to see. Now I want you to reflect on the function of your home. And what I mean by that is, can you find things easily? Do drawers or cupboards open without things falling out? Can you close them back? Can you get out your front door when you're in a rush with ease, or are you running around trying to find things? So does the function in your home actually serve you? Does it serve you well? Yes or a no? Yeah. I'm seeing some answers come through. Yep, that's great. I've seen some no's as well. Okay. And maybe some of you just have a few spots where it is a little bit problematic. It's not, you know, a big broad blockage that's going on. What I'm going to say is, if you don't have this space in your home where you feel good, or that you're feeling that it's cluttered up, then that's a sign that you need to get organised. It's also something that as women, we actually feel quite differently to men. And there are scientific studies to actually show this, that if we are in a space that is not serving us, that is quite cluttered, we actually will respond with releasing cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and we do more of that than men. So how we feel in environment, we are actually more susceptible. So if you've ever walked, you know, got home and there's stuff everywhere, and you feel your anxiety go up, you feel your stress levels go up, but you look at your partner and if he's male, he's like, huh, I don't know what you're talking about. It's because you're experiencing things very differently, and that is just the reality. Like, that is a scientific fact. Now, in terms of how you approach that, in getting more organized and, you know, making your space somewhere where it's going to serve you, I find that people often go to, I just need to get organized. Great, but you're probably just reorganizing what's already there. If you want to have the biggest impact on your space and reducing that level of overwhelm and bringing that serving the space for you, making you feel really well, it's actually decluttering. Now, I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know, but when people hear that they need to declutter, they go into a state of overwhelm because they go, where do I start? What do I even do? Because it seems so big. They don't know how far they want to go. They start to think about all the things that they need and want to hang on to. And they're also, usually you're sharing a household with someone as well. So you've got to be thinking about all their stuff and what that looks like. And it's really tricky to try and think about, you know, what does a declutter look like, because you've got to have that collective understanding with everybody in the home. So I talk to people about what is your ideal. And what I'm going to show you is, you see this with designers and that sort of thing, is what you call a mood board or a style board or a vision board. And it's basically putting a visual element behind what you're trying to create as your ideal. What I've put up on the slide is actually 3 different levels of items in your home. So if you're not clear on what your ideal is, this is a great way to actually start to get clear. But when I do it with people, I'm not just looking at the style and color and look and that sort of thing. I'm actually looking at the level of things. So if you look at the image on the left-hand side, it's very minimalist. There's actually nothing on the bed, on the bench. There's not even handles on the cupboards. If you go to the middle image, there's about 4 or 5 items starting to go onto the kitchen bench. And then in the last image on the right-hand side, there aren't cupboards, and there's actually things living out in the open that would otherwise live in some people's cupboards. So they're really comfortable with having more things out. So this sort of demonstrates the different level of items that you might see as your ideal. Now, this can be done for each room, and you're also thinking about the function of the room. So if I was to look at, say, a space like a spare room, it might be multi-function and be an office, a gym, a library, and there's quite a lot of stuff in there which needs to live. But part of going through creating your ideal board is actually having those discussions with your household about what that looks like, and you may end up actually transferring that function to another area. So it's a really great way that I like to start with people in taking them through if they're not clear. The benefits of doing this is you actually get an inclusive way to set the standard around, you know, what does your ideal look like? So that feeds directly into your home routines and that sort of thing as well. And you can set it at a level where it works for the whole household. So remember I was saying about, you know, we're impacted differently by clutter. By having those conversations and seeing that visually, it is a really good way to communicate that. And like I said, decide on the different functions of rooms. So being really clear about that. And the biggest thing though, is it helps really start your choices and guide your choices around decluttering. So it gives you that starting point. So let's talk about decluttering. So as part of signing up to be part of the masterclass, you receive my step-by-step declutter guide full of tips and tricks and how to work through the process. But what I wanted to share with you is my top 3. Gamification. Has anybody heard of gamification? It's not about gaming, but it's actually a way to actually activate people and reward people. So it's it really helps you do something that you really don't want to do. Because games actually help us because it releases dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter in the brain. And when it's released, it activates you. It activates when you achieve something positive. So it really helps build that desire and willingness to do something. So when you look at decluttering and you're overwhelmed, thinking about how can you gamify this actually will really help with that activation and getting it done. And it is an absolute game changer with your everyday routines, particularly if you have kids. What you'll be getting after the masterclass is a guide on some different ideas around how to incorporate gamification in decluttering and in your everyday routine. So that'll get sent out to you and you'll see lots of different ideas. But it can be as simple as a bit of music, listening to a podcast, if that's what you love. If you're someone who gets overwhelmed in a space and you're doing a declutter on your own, picking like a shelf or just a small part of a cupboard, setting a timer, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, keep it really small, something that's really achievable, set that timer and go. And you're going to get a dopamine hit at the end of that with what you've done with that small amount of time. Because we often find we go into this state of overthinking, can't do it, see it as really big. Setting a timer is a way to gamify it as well. So anyway, you'll get loads of tips and tricks post-workshop on that. I am just going to finish up. Oh, sorry, I've got two more things. So the other thing with the declutter guide, I don't put this in there, but what I try and get people to do is actually aim for 70% full in their home. So I find working with people, they declutter to a level, where the doors can close, things are a little bit easier to get access to in and out, that sort of thing. I say push harder, go to 70%. The reason that I say that is we always have things coming in and out of our home. We struggle with that out of our home usually because it takes time and you've got to make those choices. But the things coming in, if you go to 70%, it gives you that growth room where you still keep function in your home. So, the drawers open, you can find things easily. And then you can plan for your routine declutter with a bit more ease and not go into that state of overwhelm. Okay, so that's a huge tip around aim for that 70%. The other biggie, and this is in the guide, everything has a home. So within your home, if you are finding homes for all your things, you're essentially setting what I call a space boundary at the same time. So as soon as something expands beyond its home, then you know it's time that you need to do a bit of a reorganize and declutter. But the other great thing about giving everything a home, you stay organized. If you've got children, you've got other people in the household, it helps them know where things go as well. And you can decide where homes are together. It's not all about, you as the individual deciding this, but if you decide it collectively, then it really works. And you want to put them in places where it works for you and how you think about it. So we all live differently in our homes, and we want to make those homes for things in those, if it's high use, it's in an easy area. If you always can't find your keys, put it by your door in that bright bowl or something like that. So it's that kind of everything has a home, but it's got to make sense for you. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the last bit, which is actually around the mental stuff. So when you look at this image, just pop in the chat, can you relate to all the tabs open in your head? Like it's just, and particularly, I think we're talking about the festive season, the silly season. I'm seeing people just go into overdrive out there. I'm doing it myself. So, and I have some processes around how to keep that under control, but it doesn't always work. So as we said in the context setting, life has just got a little bit more complex. There's life admin's made up of your schedule, your budget, your affairs, your taxes, your loans, your insurances, your bills. And if you're one of those people that are in this, what they call the sandwich generation, where you're also running the affairs for your elders, then that's like a double whammy, if not a triple. Like it's a lot. The reason that I raise this and want to talk about this and help people with this is because the mental load, it's about running the household, right? You're the household manager, the project manager, you're carrying the mother load. The split on who is carrying this in, traditional relationships with men and women is a 70-30, 70% women, 30% men. The domestic load, domestic tasks, we've absolutely seen a shift with that. It's about 50-50. And I'd say there's probably a bit of a generational overlay to that, but definitely with the younger ones coming through, it is 50-50. But we are not seeing that mental load shift as significantly. The reason that we really need to be addressing this is, as I said, life admin, way more complicated, but I'm going to put a caveat on that. Do not offload the finance component. So I think Teisha made that point around, we are still retiring with half of the super. Still maintain and empower yourself around that, around your finances. And I don't think that's a generational thing. I think finance is scary. So still keep across what's happening with that and understand what's happening. But yes, life admin's got complicated. We need to divvy it up. The other thing reason we want to be addressing this is it's actually one of the highest barriers, one of the number one things that career women are actually dealing with that's a blocker. The load is too much. We are seeing people exit the workforce because of it that would have otherwise been, progressing and doing what they want in their profession. I recently went to a talk by the former Equal Opportunity and Sex Discrimination Commissioner, Kate Jenkins. Wonderful. Like if you see her around, go and talk to her. She's fantastic. She talked about all these wonderful things that she'd done across her career. It was amazing. The talk ended with someone asking the question, what was the number one thing that helped her? And, what does she see as the challenge for professional women these days? And she said, it's the domestic stuff. It's the mental load. We are not shifting the dial on the mental load. And you cannot carry the running of the household and invest in your professional career without shifting that dial. She was very amusing in that, she was in a blended, she was with a partner who already had children. So she said she never took on that domestic load. She never took on that mental load. She said she would have never been able to do what she did without him doing what he was doing. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen for everyone, but we've got to have the conversations and we've got to start a process of recalibrating what that looks like. So how do we do that? There is a solution.
Sorry to interrupt, Dali, just letting you know we're close to time.
Perfect. Thank you.
All good.
So how do we do this? We basically want to look at consistent responsibility. So I'm sure if I say to people, you ask your partner to do something, he does it once, but then you have to ask it again, or he doesn't do it properly. Okay, that happens, accept it. The way that we actually get that consistent responsibility happening is we really need to be transparent about all these things in our head. We need to lay it out and get it out. And then we have the conversations around setting the standard, agreeing on the how, when, and what is to be done. It's no different to what we do at work, right? You're allocated a responsibility, you work these things out, you go through a handover, you train. Hopefully you don't have to performance manage, but I'm not saying that won't happen. But the other thing that you need to be mindful of is when you're working out how to get this stuff out is who's going to take that up. So when you're assigning those responsibilities, go with strengths, go with what people like, divvy it back up in that way, but you're still going to have some tough stuff to work through. Okay. And that conversation is really tricky to have because you're asking someone to do something that they really don't want to do. What I will say to you is if you go through this process of creating transparency and consistent ownership and recalibrating it, you will get time back. It will ease the mental load. And ideally, you're going to get back to doing what you love, whether that's working on your career or bringing back in some more work around, your well-being and yourself, which you're going to hear from Nick about. Some of you probably don't even have space to be even thinking what it is that you love or what's this self-care and well-being. So doing this will actually help you free that up. So in wrapping up, going into 2024, you've heard about 3 big things that are going to help you. What's the one big thing that you could actually be looking at for 2024? I want you to pop it in the chat. So is it the mental stuff? Are you going to start thinking about recalibrating the load? Is it the physical stuff? Are you going to start looking at how you're going to declutter so that you can get really organized? Or is it actually about creating that ideal? So getting really clear on what this looks like for you and your household. So pop it in the chat. Let's see what people are doing. The mental stuff, the physical, or the ideal. Great. More free time. Mental stuff. Yeah, mental stuff. Declutter. Great. I wish you good luck with what you're doing there. It's great to see that you've got something out of that. I am going to hand over to Nick and we'll wrap up later with some questions if you've got any. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Ali. That was wonderful. And I'll just get you to
Stop sharing.
Stop sharing. Hey, there we are, all of the people. So I thought long and hard about how best to share my little chunk with you tonight. And I decided not to do slides because I had so few slides. And I made the choice that I really wanted to be able to see and feel you guys, like see your reactions and see what's going on for you. So unless you really feel strongly, excuse me, looking at my other screen, I'm just getting the next poll going. Unless you feel really strongly, please switch your camera on just to be here in the space with us all. Say hello, let your face be seen, because we are all here in this together, facing the same challenges. And so it's beautiful to be able to feel that sense of community together here. So I hope that you're loving what you are getting so far. I know that I am so inspired by both of these women, and we've done the financial finesse, the money stuff, and we've done the physical space, the beautiful decluttering things with Ali. And excuse me, it is now time for the third section of our evening where we're really exploring inner well-being, so your mental and emotional well-being. We've got 15 minutes together. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on me because I don't actually know most of you, which is really cool. I'm going to teach you a little bit about how to have a healthier relationship with your inner world as an ambitious woman, and then take you through a short embodied meditation. But first, I want to give you the opportunity for a little bit of self-reflection. And so you can see the poll is there. Oh, I see a heap of people have already dived in on that. And that this is a chance to just reflect on how is my relationship with myself right now. And this isn't about like I should be perfect all the time, but it is an opportunity to go, oh, you know, is this really, is what I'm doing working for me, or do I need to grow in this area perhaps? So about 12 and a half years ago, I started coaching people, and I started coaching athletes specifically. And that happened because I'd had a significant equestrian accident. And the recovery and healing process that I went on after that really inspired me to get into mindset and to understand what's going on inside of a person when they are moving through the world. And so my business started off coaching predominantly equestrian athletes. And I worked with riders right from amateur through to right up to Olympic level. And I did that for 5 or 6 years. And then I went through my own experience of burnout. And for anybody who's been in burnout or through burnout before, you know how much fun it isn't. And it was a huge turning point for me and prompted me to ask the question, do I want the next 10 years of my life to look the same as the last 10 years? And that turned out to be a really powerful question for me, because the answer was no. And it was actually the driver that had me make some really significant changes, but also go on to get deeper education around the nervous system and the body and how we carry and store trauma. And it got me fascinated about women and our biology. And it is what ultimately supported me to steer the ship of the work that I do towards working with women who I call ambitious women. And now I have clients across North America and Australia and Europe and even in Africa, women who are doing really amazing work in the world and who have said, I want to do this amazing work, but I don't want to do it at the expense of my well-being anymore. I want to find a new way. Now, I'm seeing droves of women right now who are fed up with the status quo of I feel disconnected from myself. I feel some version of cut off from my nature, and I'm exhausted, and I'm maybe doing the running on the hamster wheel thing, and I really want a new way. So how many of you can relate to some version of that, either right now or having been there in the past? Just give me some thumbs up or some nods. Let me know you're with me. Yeah, great. Thank you. So I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine two circles overlapping. And one of the circles is capitalism. Now, capitalism is, it tells us that it's the, I've seen someone say evil. Capitalism is the model of society that we exist inside of. And it says to us, hey, production and results and successes and outcomes are more important than your personhood, more important than your heart, than your feelings, than your well-being. The other circle is feminism. Now, feminism has and continues to do amazing work for women's rights, which is super important, and I celebrate that. And there are lots of different flavors of feminism or interpretations of it. And the one that I am speaking about specifically has been the voice that has said, I'm going to driving women to strive for the biggest, most powerful, most influential positions of responsibility that previously would have just been out of their, weren't even on the menu for women when they were selecting options. Now, I love that women are given opportunities to step into greater things, but when you look at the intersection between those two circles, the capitalism and the feminism, the women reaching for greatness, in that middle bit, that little crossover, we have the burnt out, trying to do it all, sacrificing herself on the altar of her results, modern, ambitious woman. And she's proving to everyone that she has the big lady balls to do it all and winning at the capitalist game, but at what cost? And women are getting fed up with this, which I love. There is this not realistic, totally. Thank you, DP. I appreciate that. Not realistic. It's so true. To the degree, and this feels crazy to me, that it almost feels a bit like anti-feminist to suggest to a professional woman that maybe she can slow down and prioritize her well-being and that she doesn't have to work so hard and that it's okay to feel good and to do things that prioritize feeling good. I'm loving your claps. Who's that? Jane, thank you. Love it. And, your softness is important and it's worth protecting. And this conditioning is so baked in. How many of you can relate to being sort of stuck in the middle of those two circles? Yeah, thanks. I'm seeing some hands up there. I appreciate that. So ladies, we have got to step out of that sneaky trap. Let's get out of there. And I'm certainly not suggesting that we do that in the next 8 minutes, because that would be impressive. But what I am proposing is that it is time, and I imagine many of you are somewhere already on this journey, but it is time to begin to radically prioritize your heart, to feel your own depths, to feel your desires and yearnings, to learn to be an effective leader or businesswoman or like career lady, whatever you are, not only with your intellect, but with your femininity, with your body wisdom, with your intuition, to heal the past hurts that you might still be carrying around in your heart so that you can actually be available to feel the richness of your life experiences, and to set some different boundaries that protect your energy and well-being so that you can actually feel good in your life. How does that sound? I got a thumbs up. I got some nods. Yeah, awesome. You have to have a babysitter. Do I have a babysitter? So all of that, the path for that is to learn to get out of your head and back into your body. The other outcome of those overlapping circles is that in our modern society, the mental intellect and intelligence and analysis has become so glorified. I would almost call it like a lost art of feeling good that we've disconnected from. And, you know, so many problems that modern ambitious women that you might be facing today can't actually be solved by going around and around and around in your mind, but there is absolutely a solution when you learn to inhabit your body. Things like built up stress and overwhelm, things like feeling really triggered by life's experiences to the point that you sort of boil over and snap at somebody that you care about, low libido and sexual dysfunction, and a challenge with finding and keeping good relationships, feeling stuck in your head or anxious and like not trusting yourself, exhaustion, people pleasing. All of these symptoms or challenges that I hear so many of my clients and just women who I come into contact with facing, that they're going round and round looking for the solutions when actually so many of these challenges, I wouldn't say they resolve themselves, but there is really clear opportunities to make genuine, meaningful, and lasting shifts through being more in their bodies and less in their thinking function, learning to feel. Now, obviously, there's a tremendous amount of nuance to this and many layers, but for now, I want to guide you through a short process to actually do this, to give you a felt sense experience of what am I talking about when I mean getting out of my head and connecting with my body. And so I'm going to guide you through just a couple of minutes of process. You're welcome to leave your cameras on or switch them off if you prefer, but I am going to ask you to close your eyes and bring your awareness and your attention inwards and towards yourself. So just finding a position in your seat that is comfortable and closing down your eyes, bringing your gaze inwards. And please know that there is no right or wrong way to do this. Many of you might have experience with meditation, but just follow along with what I'm going to invite you to do. And we're here to do a bit of a learning exploration journey into your body, as opposed to getting something right. So just taking a few deep breaths down into your belly, relaxing your abdominal muscles and letting there be a sigh as you exhale. It might feel a little strange, but just seeing what it would be like to let yourself inflate your belly like a balloon as you inhale. And do a big sigh. Just bringing your awareness down and giving your toes a little wriggle and feeling the sensations that are beneath your feet. Maybe there's carpet or floorboards or socks or a dog. Just feeling the sensations of that, noticing. Taking another big, deep inhale into your body. Just using that presence and awareness to notice what is in you as you turn your attention inwards. How does your body feel? Is it tight? Are you tired? What sensations are here? Are your shoulders sore? Just letting your shoulders drop away from your ears. Are you breathing right down into your body, into your belly? Or are you breathing shallow into your chest? Just noticing. Is your heart beating fast? With curiosity, like, oh, what other sensations am I going to find here? Is there some tingles in the back of my calves? Taking another big deep breath down into your belly. And making a sound on your next exhale, letting there be a big sigh. I want to invite you to gently begin shifting your weight back and forth between your sit bones. Left sit bone, right sit bone. Keeping your eyes closed, breathing down into your body, and notice what happens when you move your weight around. Notice what the sensations might change. Does it feel good? Does it feel a bit weird? Just gently beginning to let your spine undulate a little bit. Like, what's it like to sort of let my neck be free? Just experimenting with a little bit of movement, letting your spine move, making some circles perhaps. Swaying, circling, breathing down into your belly. Yes to you, landing in your body. Yes to you noticing what is here. Whatever is here is okay. And as you continue to just bring this warm gaze of your attention inwards, just seeing if you can bring a welcoming presence, like, oh, hello, inner self. You often might find yourself in this inner world with criticism and judgment and self-deprecation. But what if this warm gaze could be kind, inviting, compassionate, encouraging? Hello, inner self. Oh, welcome, interesting sensation in my spine. Oh, welcome, feeling a bit tired. Welcome, feeling a bit frazzled and overburdened by life. The way you begin to move the needle and the way you feel is through the tone and the quality of the attention you bring to yourself. The way you tend this beautiful inner garden. And so, I'm just going to invite you to slowly bring your attention and presence back to the collective. And I know that was just a little dip of the toes in the water, though you learned when you signed up for this that you would get access to my 14-day guided meditation journey. And so you're going to get the first installment of that tomorrow morning in your inbox. And that's going to guide you through a practice of less than 10 minutes each day. Very similar to what we just did, but with a bit more depth and 14 different flavors that are going to support you to connect with yourself more deeply and to cultivate a sense of more embodied awareness with your internal world, which will help you to reduce stress, feel less triggered by life, and feel more in touch with and at peace with yourself. So feel free to type in the chat box and let us know what, let me know what you noticed from that session, what stood out to you, what you learned, and we are heading into the completion. I got a couple of messages from some women letting me know that they needed to leave during that, which is fine. So we say bye-bye to them. Now, we've all shared with you that we really want the learning. You feel relaxed, Jane. Awesome. That's great. We really want the learning to continue, which is why, as we've shared in the, oh my gosh, what are my notes doing? Where are we? Hey, that's the sheet I'm looking for. In your follow-up email tomorrow, you'll get that budgeting spreadsheet from Tish, which is gorgeous. You're going to get the gamification guide from Ali, which is going to support you to really set that vision for how you want your home to look and feel, and then start moving in that direction. And you are going to get that 14-day meditation journey starting from tomorrow, which is super exciting. And we love all of those things. Like they're beautiful. And even better, if you've loved this tonight and you feel like you would like to go deeper with us, then we have a beautiful, oh my gosh, where is my thing? Aha, there we go. We have a beautiful invitation for you to come and join us in the Chaos to Clarity package, and to do some coaching with all of us and get some personalized support. And I acknowledge that we are heading towards time. So we're just going to take 1 minute each to share about what we're bringing to this package, and let you know how you can join us to get some personalized support if you'd like to. Tish, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, for sure. I feel so relaxed now. I feel really
Yay.
good. So with me, so 2 sessions. So the purpose of this like financial finesse coaching package is to carve out some time pre-2024 or at the start of 2024 to actually decide what you want out of your money in the next year, and not just let things happen to you. So the first session is about creating a bit of a roadmap for yourself. So defining the values, putting on paper exactly where you're at now, putting some numbers and a bit of a framework around what you might want to achieve by the end of the year, and putting some dollar figures against that. And then also figuring out what the gaps are. So when we build the roadmap, we also include things like super, insurances, and all those bits and pieces to give you a bit of an idea of what those gaps might be. And then support with completing the spending plan and everything like that. And then a follow-up meeting as well. So we complete all that over 2 meetings. I might pass it over to you, Ali.
Yeah, thanks, Tish. So with my clutter-free to calm sessions, so I say sessions because I offer that little bit of flexibility, because it might be that you want me to help you work through some of the physical stuff. So getting in with the declutter, helping you, create your ideal, work through how to start your declutter, give you a plan. So I often find that people just don't know where to start, but through having a look, and we can do that virtually or in person, having a look at what's happening and where your biggest pressure points are and what's making you feel overwhelmed, I can really help you come up with that plan on how to approach it and break it down, and actually take you through a bit of a coaching session and what that looks like, and get you in that rhythm of decluttering. But if it's something where you want to work on, say, looking at recalibrating the mental load, we can certainly work that into the session as well. So that clutter-free calm is really about whatever you want to make it about, whether it's your space or your mental load. But I often can work through with you on your routines as well. So setting up things for that everyday ease and looking at what's working for you or what's not. So things like the big things that I find people do, around meal planning. Whoever told you as an adult that you'd have to plan your meal every day? It's just drives you crazy. There's so many things that you can do to streamline that and ease the load around that. But at the end of the day, what I can say is doing the sessions with me absolutely reduce that overwhelm. And I'm your biggest cheerleader through getting you through that and getting you activated and going on that. So hope to see you.
Yay. And in the inner well-being department, we will dive in with 3 sessions together. Now, every woman's life has been different, which means your life experiences has been different, which means your nervous system is different to another woman. So the practices that work for one woman to get out of her head and into her body and to feel more regulated and empowered in her life actually might be really different to what's going to work and be effective for the next person. So together we will uncover and support you to pave your unique pathway from your head into your body so you can de-stress, you can actually impact and cultivate the feeling tone of your life of enjoyment or relaxation or like power and aliveness, whatever it is that you want to experience. But that pathway of the way to cultivate that will be different for each woman. And so that transformation of your mental, emotional and spiritual well-being through getting back into your body will carve that unique journey out for you, and I'll support you up. I'll set you up with practices that will support you with your nervous system, your unique history, so that you walk away feeling sort of more ready for the things that life might throw at you, and knowing that they're not going to tip you into overwhelm or shut down, knowing that you can face up to life's challenges and feel more solid and more able to meet them in a centered, relaxed, feeling confident and trusting in yourself way. So we would love to go on this journey with you. Sorry, I'm looking over here. I'm like, all of your faces are over here on my screen, so it feels a little bit funny. But we would love to go on this journey with you and support you over the next couple of months to go deeper with us on these 3 areas. And when we came together to do this masterclass, we were really excited because we know that these 3 sort of pain points, if you will, finances, like life management and physical space, and then inner well-being, mental and emotional well-being, are 3 such core areas for professional women, for working women. And so we also wanted to come up with a really exciting package to give you the opportunity to get ongoing support from us. And so this Chaos to Clarity coaching package is available for $2,200, which is inclusive of GST and includes all of what we just ran through. And in a moment, I will actually drop the link, the payment link, in the chat thread. So if anybody is ready to go and dive in, then you're more than welcome to sign up now, and we'll be in touch to get the ball rolling for you. The other thing to be aware of is that tomorrow in your follow-up email, you might be listening to this and thinking, well, that sounds great, but I only want to work with Ali, or something like that. So in your follow-up email tomorrow, you're going to have links that you can book in with us individually for a complimentary first chat to just say hi. So if you want to work with 1 or 2 of us, but this package doesn't resonate, that's completely fine. Please jump in our calendars tomorrow and book a time to say hello. Otherwise, we'd all love to support you collectively and to give you the chance to sort of have us on your shoulders or in your pockets as you go into 2024, helping you out with all of these such important areas of such important areas of your life as modern working women. Now, thank you so much for being here. It's such a delight to spend the evening with you. And there's a chance now for questions. If anybody has any questions, either around the coaching package or around anything that we've covered tonight, and really acknowledging as well that I know that we have gone a little bit over time. So if you do need to head off, that's completely fine. Otherwise, we will stay around a little longer to answer your questions and chat. And I'll drop that payment link in the chat box now. Awesome. Any questions, ladies? No? Either we did a really good job of explaining things, or I feel like
reading lots of thank yous and people finding it interesting. So that's really great. So
yeah, fantastic.
I've got something out of it. Very informative, really good workshop. That's good. Fantastic. All right.
Yeah, thank you guys.
No questions. Hopefully you kick off your 2024 with a bit more clarity.
Absolutely. And yeah, if you do have any questions, please reach out to us individually. Otherwise, all the best for your 2024. And thank you so much for joining us for this event.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. It was fantastic.
Thanks for spending your time with us, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.